Welcome back to the Mental Performance Masterclass. My name is Nick Kleitch, and with me, as always, my co-host, Scott Litter, and also owner of Lit Leadership and Performance. Sorry, I kind of muffed the order of that a little bit. But anyways, Scott, how we doing?
Doing great. Great to be here with you tonight, Nick.
Yeah, I appreciate it. What a journey season 1 has been. We are at our final episode of Self-Talk. It's been a great season. I feel like we've contributed a lot of very strong concepts, and really the concluding note here for our episode today is going to be a little bit oriented around self-image and some tools and tactics, specifically affirmations, that you, Scott, are going to hammer on to really give some value to the listeners. And I hope that they've gained a lot from us and talking about self-talk. Before we dive in, though, just as a quick reminder, this podcast really truly is about us discussing and detailing mental performance. And we hope to keep that as our North Star. So anyways, getting into episode 4 of season 1 is a little bit towards maybe a different perspective than what we've talked about. And selfishly, I did want to talk about this because I think that as much as we can discuss self-talk in terms of what it is, why it's useful, having the awareness around negative thoughts and negative thought patterns, self-image is something I think that gets a little bit lost in translation. And truthfully, what that means to me is understanding that there is value and power in not only the story we tell ourselves, but how we view ourselves. And I don't think that this is something that is so loud and noisy, so to speak, in comparison to, let's say, motivation or emotions or mental toughness. And it's really a subconscious thing that people have to deal with more than I think that they think it is a contributing factor. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, Scott. I don't know how much you dabble in self-image, but when you hear about self-image and understanding maybe the language or how we view ourselves, what comes to mind for you?
Well, I think of something I've heard John Maxwell say, and I've read in his books, and that's that you will never outperform your own self-image. So if a scale to 1 to 10, you see yourself as a 6, you're never going to perform at a 7, 8, or a 9. If you see yourself as a 6, you're always going to perform at a 6 or lower. It doesn't matter what type of performance. Leadership is one example. He says if you see yourself as a 6 leader, first of all, you're never going to attract 7, 8, 9s, and 10s to follow you. You're only going to attract 6s and under, and you're never going to perform higher than that. So that's why personal growth is so important. Personal growth and developing our own self-image, which I think is what you're talking about here today.
Absolutely. And to really kind of detail that a little bit before we get to the back half, self-image is really about how you see yourself. And to be more specific, let's say you are someone that you feel motivated most of the time, maybe some of the time, you want to have a good life, and you tell yourself the story that, I like to just be right at that average or maybe above average, or I'm okay at speaking, but I'm not great at speaking, or I'm a pretty good husband or wife, but I'm not an excellent one. And this is what gets reiterated to your self-conscious, that to your point of never performing higher than that, until we look at areas that we're extremely good at and or areas we want to work on. If we never change the story and the way that we view our ability to do certain things, we'll never exceed that. So let's say you've been kind of working towards a goal or working towards something as a team, and you feel like you can never get over the hurdle. This might be something that is actually holding you back. Is subconsciously, the team might not think they're an elite championship team, or individually, you might think that you're not an elite performer. And I think that it's okay to understand that that's something that you've maybe struggled with, but if that is what you're going to carry with you, you may have trouble scaling up to being the best version of yourself. And so how you change self-image and how you really handle self-image is visualizing what that next level is, believing and building evidence towards that particular goal, or having that evidence for the team as well to achieve the next level. The more you can spend in that mental visualization state of you reaching, let's going from what you were saying from a 6 to an 8, the more you'll start to subconsciously believe that you are deserving of that. So I know I'm kind of talking a lot here to start this episode, but any other things you would like to contribute before we share our back half?
No, I think let's move on to the back half.
Absolutely.
Excited
Absolutely.
about
So,
that.
yeah, you bet. So again, just to really drive home here, obviously responding to negative events, performance and victimhood mentality and victor mentality, coinciding with self-image is a wonderful package. But Scott is going to come in here and deliver what I think is a way to groom your self-image to get to the levels that you're wanting to, and that's affirmations. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Scott, to talk a little bit on affirmations and their
Yeah, and
power.
I want to talk about an analogy called the stoplight analogy first before I go into affirmations, because it's a really good analogy to help people really think about performance and being ready for performance. Because I use the green, red, and yellow zones is what I would call them, and the green zone just basically means you're ready to go, just like a green light. You feel you're in control and you're ready. Yellow means you're starting to lose control. Red means you are out of control and you are not ready to perform. And so being able to recognize when you're ready to perform is important. And when you're starting to lose that control, that's important too. And this is where affirmations come in, because affirmations can help give you the confidence to improve that self-image that we were talking about. But they can also keep you in the green zone. If you can do our daily affirmations, I'll give you some examples. I've got some on my desk right here that I read to myself. The first one, I release all negativity and self-doubt to step into my future with confidence and courage. If you say that to yourself every day, all of a sudden you're in a pressure situation and you remember that you're going to step into the situation with confidence and courage. And so we're really creating pathways in our brain by repeating these things over and over to ourselves that not only change our self-image, but give us the skills to have the right self-talk when the pressure is on and we need more. And so, and I always recommend that when you say affirmations, that you say them in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror, say them loud, say them like you mean it, say it with great body language, and believe it. And because, like you said earlier, until you believe in yourself, it's hard to really increase your performance.
Yeah. And to really break down that word for a second. So affirmation, and the verb there is to affirm. So I don't have that dictionary thing, definition written down, but think about the concept of that. So subconsciously, the more you're affirming what you want to have as an outcome or how you want to respond, the more you will believe it. So that's what I want to kind of give you on top of the great point you made, Scott, because that is what you're doing on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. You are affirming a certain behavior change, a certain thought change, and a certain belief change that can truly make it a long-term impact.
Yeah, not to get too nerdy on you here, but what's going on in the brain is, right, you're creating these neurological connections, and myelin, a substance called myelin, is forming around those connections. In the book that I read about this, some of the research I've done on this, they actually compared it to the kind of the plastic coating that is on electrical wiring. It keeps that electrical circuit, electricity from going somewhere where it's not supposed to go. And so what happens is we say this statement over and over and over. We strengthen that path in the brain. In the brain, we actually create this myelin that insulates that path and makes that path harder and harder to forget. And so, getting a little nerdy on you here today, but that's what affirmations do. By repeating the same thing just over and over and over, you create and you make permanent or more permanent these thoughts in your head. Every time you think a thought, every time you say something, it's easier to think it and say it again. And so that's really what you're trying to do. It's a great skill for improving your self-image and also keeping yourself in the green zone, as I talked about before.
100%. Yes. And really the kind of final point I want to make on this is, again, when you're feeling in the green zone and you're feeling good, it's easy to say the affirmation because you're in that state that is excited and motivated and ready to go. It's twice or three times as important when you're in yellow and red, because you may not be as believable. You may not be as kind of in the moment to drive that home. But again, when you're in those negative states, when you're in that red and you're just maybe not feeling it or what have you, and yet you override and use those affirmations to affirm, even in my worst moments, I still have these beliefs. I still have this self-image. I still have XYZ mindset towards my goal. those are the most powerful and critical things that can really, again, make a long-term difference in where you're trying to get to in your life. So any other kind of parting thoughts on season 1? Man, it's been an action-packed season, but self-talk is a great way to kick off the mental performance masterclass.
Yeah, I love talking about self-talk, but there's other tools, right, to stay in the green zone. There's breathing techniques we can use to keep ourselves or get ourselves in the green zone. There's visualization. There's work with body language. All of those are things. If you come back in season 2, you're going to get to learn more about those things. And I promise you, we're going to give you some skills that are going to help you.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Well, hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you entertaining us. And hopefully we really kind of opened your mind to this concept of self-talk. And again, to your point, Scott, there's many more topics of conversation that we're going to deliver on here in the coming weeks. So thank you so much, and stay tuned for season 2.